All right, last off where we left off was a friend of yours. So I want to find out more about this, Tim.
Okay, well, he's a giant of a man with immaculate teeth. He's not like a mean person. He's not aggressive in any way. He used to be a bouncer for a while, and I don't know how he got himself into the business of dominating, but he's like a full-on dominator, and he's even like trained women to be dominators who he used to have that relationship with. Yeah.
Wow.
But he told me, like, we used to work together, and I saw him recently, and I was like, so, how's business? And he's like, oh, well, you know, it's really taken off since that 50 Shades of Grey book came out. Can't read, but man, my business is just, I can barely stay on top of it, literally.
I know.
Barely.
And you said, can I sign up?
I was like, where do you teach classes?
Oh, that's hysterical. But it's interesting, yeah. We were just talking to, I mean, you never know what goes on behind closed doors, but the spin-offs from these 3 books is incredible. Apparently, E.L. James has made $95 million off of these books last year.
Wow.
Now, to think that now there's a musical, the CDs are out for the musical and the movie, and with the movie coming up in August 1st, 2014, but anyway, I mean, she's going to be making billions of dollars, but the spin-offs, where does it end? I don't know, like, you've read both of you have read the first book.
Yeah, but you mentioned something about a Barbie.
A Barbie.
I'm sorry, what was?
An S&M Barbie. They had them taken off, and apparently now they brought them back.
But is it Mattel or not Mattel?
And you know what? It said Barbie, so maybe it was like a doll, but not Mattel.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
certainly couldn't see something like
No,
that
Mattel would
happening.
be interesting.
But,
Even though it's a moneymaker.
but the sex toys.
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole.
I bet you riding crops have just like just taken off.
Taken off, I know, and there's a few other toys that actually have, like, they don't have the real trademark 50 Shades, but you know, it's the 50 Shades toys that you know we've seen in the stores.
It's really interesting because Emily DeRiza said that, you know, this is a cultural phenomenon, and for those who don't know, I believe that the tally now is 70 million books around the world. I don't know how many languages, but yes, imagine 70 million. And she made an interesting point when she was talking to me that you could kind of think of it as Harry Potter, but it's actually even more than that because you're taking away the kid element. I mean, children hopefully aren't reading this. Their parents are letting them read this. But, so basically you have 70 million adults or, you know, buying these books all around the world. So it's an incredible phenomenon.
Well, if you think about it too, what other movies, books had this kind of cultural influence? And it's really hard to think. Well, I mean, for TV, I'd say Sex and the City, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In the 90s.
Maybe it appeals to the same audience.
Yes.
I'd say.
Well, and that's the thing, like, or TV shows like that, like Sex and the City, and then books like this, regardless of how well they're written, regardless of what people say about them, they open up the doors, like they open up the floor to talk about, like to talk about sex in the 90s, to talk about BDSM now. It doesn't really, like, it's, don't particularly like the way it's written, but I think it's an awesome thing.
Yes,
More people should be using sex toys, or at least talking about it if you don't want to use them.
Yeah, and it's interesting now, like you said, what people will talk about when you go to a party or you know, even in your comic stand-up stuff, you know, what comes out. But the guy's point of view.
The guy's
Point of view, yes.
on the book.
Oh, just on the whole
Story,
thing.
the whole phenomenon. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
They
like,
call it mummy porn.
yeah, right. you know what? What I was.
Let's talk.
No, let's not. Let's not. Let's remove that element entirely, and then I can continue. But you know, the thing that I found interesting, like I read parts of it, like I read the last chapter. That's all I read.
End of the book.
So this is essentially like every English class I've ever been in. But it was interesting because like it you know, it gets to that point where like associating pain with sex, but I don't think it's even that. I think it's just feeling something. And pain is such a visceral thing. It's such a, like, you can't not recognize it as a feeling. You know, pain is so strong. Like, it's as strong as love. It can be as strong as any other emotion, but pain is so immediate. So maybe there's something about that was just feeling alive and feeling like a sexual being, but also associating that with pain. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
That's very deep. Yeah.
So you're saying you want me to get some anal beads?
Saying
I got it.
Well, I'm obviously, Jackie, they had a lot of fun putting this musical together.
Yes, they did. Well, for Emily, it was a learning experience because they weren't completely naive, but it's still a whole can of worms that you open up when you explore the BDSM culture. And she was actually talking about how they were researching and learning about it because it's so underground. They had to approach bloggers because there's no news network for bondage and sadism and masochism. So it's that would be pretty hilarious, though. Maybe, hey, it's an opportunity.
Maybe that's next step.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have our own
In the end, it's pretty brilliant to tackle it through a book club.
Yes.
Because who can't relate to a book club and talking, and especially women love their book clubs. And yeah, so it was very smart, actually, the way they did it.
Oh, well, once again, thank you. Don't go away. We still have to wrap up, and there's going to be a special edition on Thursday's show. But right now, after the break, we go from shades of gray to shades of black and white. The cute penguins are at the zoo on another Zoo Hospital episode, and then
To the
sports.
finer things in life, like individually wrapped imported fresh fish, hand-fed meals, and perfect pool temperatures.